A really good way to practice locking off the belay plate is with actually weight being on the actual rope. So if you lower somebody down on a top rope, so they're literally
First thing
just
you're going
above
to
the floor,
need
so
when
if you
you're
do
escaping
drop
the
them,
system
is being able to
mess
lock
up
off
the
skill at
stitch
any
plate.
time. They don't.
It's one of the fundamental skills, really.
And
If you can't do this, you're not going to be able to do anything else.
then more importantly,
A lot of
is
the
once
time
you've
when
locked
you
off the
first
belay
do this
plate,
skill, what
try
you're doing is
unlocking
kind of
it.
giving
And
yourself some
first of
thinking
all, what
space.
you'll
So
find
after
is
you've done this
first
first
lot
lock,
is
what you need
okay.
to do
The
is
second
put a
lot,
couple
you
of
kind of have to think,
half
well,
hitches
I'm
on the
getting
back
close
bar of the
now, and then
carabiner to kind of lock it off
once
with
you've
a
undone
belt
this
and
one, you
braces
really
approach.
are on your guard. So you need to find out which rope moves and which rope doesn't. Just hold it to the very end, as close as you can, and then bang, and then you can lower them. And hopefully that person won't come down very far at all. Of course, you then need to practice putting this into a top roping situation. Again, if you are going to do this, make sure the person or the weight is just off the ground, so if you do drop anything at any point, then nobody's going to get hurt. Again, practicing in real life situation, halfway up the cliff is not very good. You can practice this just above the ground on small boulders or at a climbing wall. And again, just make sure the people aren't that high off the ground when you're practicing, because when you make mistakes doing this sort of thing, it is big. The easiest way to escape the system, of course, is once you've locked off, is just to untie your harness. Again, so here we are escaping a different kind of system. So the first time we saw a full-on rope belay, and what we have here is escaping the system with a sling belay. And having tied off the belay plate, what we're going to do is we need to now bypass that belay plate. And the easiest way to do that is to just clip another sling directly into your single point anchor. And make sure that sling's long enough so it can go in front of your belay device. Then what you need to do is get your prusik and clip it on. And what we're going to do is we're going to tie a French prusik. So we clip a loop in. You make 4 or 5 loops round, and then clip the end back into the carabiner. The reason we use a French prusik is actually you can release it at any point, which you probably saw in the first little demonstration. What I'm doing here is I'm putting an Italian friction hitch on the single point anchor as well. Obviously, you don't want to just have somebody hanging off a prusik. So what we're going to do is just get them Ooh, nearly didn't do that. You need to get them to hang on an Italian friction hitch, so you've got that as a backup. You see why you need to kind of make sure you're doing this with somebody just off the ground, so when it does come to push come to shove, you do remember what you're doing. Once you've tied off that Italian friction hitch, this is how you do that. So Italian friction hitch. Again, pull a loop through, lock that back, a big armful of rope, and then another, again, belts and braces approach, 2 half hitches just to lock it off. And that's basically how you lock off Italian friction hitch. Here we go, back to this. So I can then take the belay plate off now, and I can pull up on that, and I can just lower that person down onto the Italian friction hitch and remove the prusik. So basically, you're trying to make it so nobody's hanging off just a prusik. Untie, and I've successfully escaped the system.